Have you ever heard of Akúdàáyà? The spirits of the dead who live among the living. In Yoruba tradition, it is said that when someone dies, sometimes their spirit does not rest. Instead, they appear in another town, another life, married, working, living as though they never died. But if you call their name, they vanish forever. Tonight, I bring you the chilling story of Adisa. In the late 1980s, in the city of Ibadan, the Adegoke and Odeyemi families were well known for their wealth and influence. Both families had been friends for decades, and it was their dream to join hands through marriage. So, without much discussion, they decided that their children, Odewale Odegoke and Morenike Odeyemi, would marry each other. The problem, however, was that Odewale and Morenike were not interested. Odewale had just finished his university studies and dreamed of furthering his career in banking, while Morenike was an ambitious young woman who wanted to become a teacher. Neither of them liked the idea of an arranged marriage. In fact, during their first meeting, both made it clear to each other, "I don't want this marriage. I have someone I really love," Morenike said, her eyes firm. "Neither do I," Odewale replied, sighing. They both tried to end the arrangement but failed. Then they decided to see where it would lead, with the intention of doing things that would make their parents end it themselves. Morenike had to break off her relationship with her long-term partner, which made her cry for days. At first, Odewale and Morenike treated each other like strangers. They barely spoke, and when they did, it was mostly out of respect for their parents. But over time, something changed. Odewale began to notice Morenike's quiet strength, her intelligence, and the way she treated people with kindness. Morenike, on the other hand, admired Odewale's determination, his sense of humor, and the way he always stood by her. Gradually, what started as an arranged marriage began to blossom into genuine love. They started doing little things together, cooking, going to church, gisting about their likes and dislikes, favorite foods, and walking hand in hand through the crowded Bodija market. Soon, everyone could see that Odewale and Morenike had become inseparable, but their joy was short-lived. Months turned into years, and there was no child. At first, families and friends told them not to worry. "It will happen," neighbors and relatives would say. But as the years dragged on, the whispers began. Morenike became the subject of ridicule. Some said she was barren, others whispered that she might not have a womb anymore. Maybe she had done several abortions that destroyed her womb in the process. The person who gave her the greatest pain was Odewale's mother. Mama Adegoke was a strong woman, feared in the family. She visited often, each time with harsher words. "Odewale, is this how you will end our lineage? 5 years of marriage, no child. Don't be a fool, marry another woman before it's too late. I want a grandchild before I die. Don't you want me to carry my grandchild? I'm getting older each day that passes." Sometimes, she would say it in front of Morenike, "You, this woman, pack your things and leave my son alone. You have failed as a wife." Morenike cried many nights, her pillow soaked with tears. She begged her husband to take another wife if that would bring peace to the family. But Odewale always shook his head firmly. "Morenike, I love you and I choose you. They may have arranged our marriage, but I stayed because I love you. I will not marry another woman. If God says we are going to have children, we will surely have them. And if not, you will always remain my only wife, my partner, and my best friend." His words were her only comfort. As the years rolled into decades, people gave up on them. Friends stopped asking questions. Relatives mocked them silently. Even church members, who once prayed fervently for them, moved on. The couple accepted their fate, finding joy in each other's company instead of waiting endlessly for a miracle. Then, when hope seemed completely lost, something extraordinary happened. 20 years after their wedding, Morenike began to feel strange. She was often tired, sometimes dizzy, and craved unusual foods. She thought it was sickness. One fateful day it became serious, and she was rushed to the hospital. A test revealed the unbelievable: she was pregnant. They thought the results were not true because they were no longer young. Adewale was over 50 years old, and Morenike's was approaching 50. They decided to try again in another hospital, but the result was still positive. They were the happiest people on earth. The news spread like wildfire. At first, many did not believe it. Some even said it was impossible at her age. But month after month, her belly grew. Adewale became her constant companion, attending every clinic visit, cooking for her, and protecting her from gossip. Even Mama Adegoke, who had once threatened to throw her out, became quiet, humbled by what God had done. After 9 long months, Morenike gave birth to a healthy baby boy. They named him Adisa Oluwashewun. On the day of the naming ceremony, Adewale stood before friends and family with tears in his eyes. For 20 years, people mocked us. They told me to abandon my wife, but love kept us together. Today, I stand proud, not just as a father, but as a husband who refused to give up on the woman he truly loves. The crowd erupted in applause. Morenike, holding baby Adisa in her arms, smiled through her tears. The same woman once called barren had become a mother, and the same couple once ridiculed had become a symbol of hope. Adisa became the apple of his parents' eyes. They took extra care of him and made sure everything he wanted was available. From the time he could walk, people said he looked very smart and that his future was going to be bright. His laughter was loud, his steps quick, his hands strong. As he grew, he began assisting his mother with house chores since he was the only child. He fetched water for his mother, followed his father to the farm, and was known for being respectful to the elders. His mates admired him and the elders often prayed for him. Omoye Osherere. This child will do well, they would say. As he grew older, he had to leave Ibadan to attend university. Before he left, his father told him, Adisa, you are our only child. Wherever you go, remember us, and never forget where you come from. And his mother, Morenike, never failed to remind him, my son, you are the light of my womb. Do not forget to call me every day. Adisa obeyed. Whenever he was away for school, he called his parents often. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night, just to say, Mama, I hope you've eaten. Baba, I hope the farm work wasn't too much. His calls became the joy of their old age. December was approaching, the festive season. Adisa promised his parents that he would come home because he missed them so much and his mother was always crying over the phone. After he told them he was coming, they were very happy and counted the days eagerly. On the day of his return, he called again. His mother's heart was full of joy. Adisa, my son, we are waiting for you. I have cooked your favorite efo vegetable soup. Don't delay. Don't worry, Mama, he replied cheerfully. I'm already on the way. Before evening, I will be with you. But fate had other plans. Not far from Ibadan, tragedy struck. A trailer loaded with cement lost control on the express road. It rammed into the commercial bus Adisa was traveling in. In a single moment, lives were lost. Among them was Adisa. He was only 25 years old, with a bright future ahead of him. Back in Ibadan, his parents waited. Suddenly, his mother became restless but couldn't point out what was wrong. She paced around the compound, her eyes fixed on the road. His father sat outside, listening for the sound of footsteps. But the night came, and Adisa never arrived. They tried his number all through the night but it wasn't reachable. They became scared. Neighbors tried to calm them down, saying the vehicle might have broken down on the way and his phone battery might have died, but they couldn't sleep that night. It was the next day that the news reached them. A relative visited early in the morning, his face dark with sorrow. Baba Adisa. Mama Adisa. He began slowly, Struggling with words, the old couple's hearts trembled. They both asked him what happened, but he couldn't reply at first. He started crying, then said slowly, "Adisa, your son. He had an accident on his way. The bus he entered somersaulted. Everyone inside didn't survive, including him." Morenike's mother screamed, "Who is him? What are you talking about?" He replied, "I am talking about Adisa. He didn't survive." The wailing that broke from Morenike's lips shook the ground. She tore her wrapper, fell to the earth, and screamed until her voice cracked, "Olorun oo. What have I done to deserve this? Kine Ishemi. What is my offense? Why me? My only child. The joy of my old age. Why must it be him? Adisa, why will you do this to your mother? Adisa, your mother is calling you, won't you answer your mother again? Adisa, oh, please don't do this to me." Adewale staggered back, holding his head, repeating, No, not my son. It can't be him. Never can my God forsake me like this, after all my prayers. His body was brought home and buried quickly, as was the custom. If a child died before his parents, he had to be buried quickly because the child was meant to bury his parents, not the other way around. His grave was filled with tears, and the elders lamented, a promising child, gone too soon. He was the only child, never married, and had no child. The grave has swallowed his youth. Life moved on for others, but the wound in Adewale and Morenike's hearts never healed. Their home became silent, their laughter was gone. Every night, his mother would sit by the window, whispering, "Adisa, you promised to come home. You said you were on the way. Where are you, my son?" A few years passed. In another town, far from Ibadan, something strange happened. A woman named Dupe was returning from the market when her eyes caught a man across the street. Her market bag fell from her hands, vegetables scattering. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Adisa." Yes. Standing there was the same Adisa everyone had mourned, the boy who had died at 25. He looked alive, strong, carrying some goods, and paying a trader. Dupe called out louder, her voice shaking, "Adisa. Adisa." But he never turned. He walked away calmly, as though he hadn't heard. Terrified, she quickly went back to Ibadan and told the elders what she saw. Some didn't believe her, but the older ones understood. They told her to follow them to Adisa's parents' house. She explained everything again. The parents were shocked. They asked if she was sure. She said, is it not the same Adisa who grew up in my presence, someone I knew from birth, someone I carried?" Immediately, they stood up and asked her to take them there. When they arrived in the town, they asked questions. Eventually, they were directed to a house. It wasn't difficult to find because the place wasn't big. They knocked on the door. A woman came out carrying a small child. "Good afternoon," she greeted, "Good afternoon. Please, we are looking for a man named Adisa." She answered that no one by that name lived there. Then they asked her, "Where is your husband?" She asked if there was a problem, but they said no, they were related to him. She smiled and said, "He's inside." "Wait, I'll call him." She went in. But minutes later, she returned pale, trembling. "I can't find him. Oh, he was here a few minutes ago. We were just talking when we heard the knock. And he told me to check the door. But now, he's gone. The room is empty. And there's no back door in this house. Please help me, I don't understand." The elder sighed. His father nodded his head while his mother wept bitterly. The oldest among the elders stepped forward, his voice heavy. He asked the woman if they could go inside to talk. She resisted, shouting and crying, but after much persuasion, she agreed. Inside, the elder cleared his throat and began, "Woman, the man you call husband is our son. He is Adisa, the son of Odewale and Moreneke from Ibadan. He died in an accident years ago, at just 25 years old. He was never married, neither did he have a child before he died. The man living with you is not human. He is Akúdàáyà. The woman staggered back, clutching her baby as tears poured down her face. No, that cannot be. He sleeps beside me. He eats with me. He is my husband. He is the father of my child. They asked her several questions, but she couldn't respond. That was when she realized she didn't really know much about him. She had asked him questions before, but he always avoided them. He had told her that he was an orphan, the only child of parents who died when he was young, and that he had no relatives. He said he was from Ilorin, not Ibadan. Her sobs echoed through the compound. She didn't want to believe them. She told them to leave her house immediately, insisting that her husband would soon return. But that night, the man never came back. All his belongings vanished, his clothes, shoes, everything. She became terribly sick. Adisa's mother visited and tried to console her. After her parents' advice, she finally opened up and accepted the truth. Adisa's parents were relieved that he left a child who would continue their legacy. It was hard for the woman to accept that she had married an Akúdàáyà, but she had no choice. Many times, she cried, wondering what she would tell her child when he grew up and asked about his father. Would she say his father was an Akúdàáyà? After a while, Adisa's parents took her to the village and showed her where he was buried. She cried and cleaned the grave, and from that day she always visited his parents, assisting them with house chores and ensuring her child spent time with them, and so, the story spread. Backhand index pointing right. If you see the dead living among the living, never call their name. If you do, they will vanish at once. And if they sense that someone who recognizes them is near, they disappear immediately. Such beings are called Akúdàáyà, spirits of the dead, dwelling among the living.